Every night, when the last train pulls out of Ashford Hollow, an old taxi driver walks down to the rail crossing by Widow's Pond. He says goodnight to his son there, and to the woman his son married. But nobody in this town has seen either one of them in almost 2 years. Walter Combs had driven the night route through Ashford Hollow for as long as anyone could remember. Every evening, once the last passenger train rattled out of the old depot, he'd park his cab near the platform and settle in for the night. He didn't go home anymore, not since his son got married. 1 bedroom, 1 house, and a new bride needed her privacy. So Walter made do. A thin army blanket, a cracked window for air. The cold had come early this year, biting through the seams of his jacket. He was used to being alone. His own wife, Eleanor, had passed young, back before the boy could even walk. Some nights he barely remembered her voice anymore. He was drifting towards sleep, eyes heavy, when something wet and ice cold wrapped around his wrist. Walter's eyes snapped open. Whatever had touched him was gone, but the silence around the cab felt wrong, thick and pressing, like the whole hollow was holding its breath. Then he saw him, his son Daniel, standing just outside the driver's door, half lit by the platform light. His shirt was untucked. His face looked like a man who hadn't slept in days. "Pop," Daniel said quietly. "Ruthie's gone." She stormed out. "Won't say where." Walter sighed, rubbing his eyes. This wasn't the first time the two of them had fought like this. Young marriages always had their storms. "Go check the rail crossing," Walter muttered, already reaching for the door handle. "She likes to sit near the water when she's upset." The crossing gate sat just past the tree line, where the tracks curved close to Widow's Pond. Moonlight spread flat and silver across the water, and there she was. Ruthie, sitting right on the rails, legs stretched in front of her, staring out at the pond like she could see something no one else could. Her hair hung loose and dark down her back, almost touching the gravel. "What are you looking at out there, Ruthie?" Walter asked, keeping his voice calm. She didn't turn around. "Your son sold my wedding ring," she said, flat and quiet. "Gambled it away in one night. And when I told him what I thought of that, he told me to go ahead and die if it bothered me so much." A cold wind curled around them both. "So I did," she whispered. "Took a length of rope and an old clay jug to weigh me down. Walked right into that water, never came back up." Walter stood there a long moment, saying nothing. The pond looked the same as it always did, dark, still, patient. "You think you're the only one carrying grief around. This town?" he finally said, his voice rough. "You had a mother and father who loved you, Ruthie. Did you think of them at all before you walked into that water?" "What? Am I supposed to tell them now?" She didn't answer. The sky behind them had started to lighten at the edges, that first gray hint before sunrise. Somewhere far off, a train horn sounded, low and long, rolling across the hollow like a warning. By the time full daylight broke over Ashford Hollow, Walter was already back at the little house, the one with only 1 bedroom. He swept the dust off the floor, aired out the curtains, straightened the quilt on the bed no one had slept in for 2 years. Then he locked the door behind him, walked down to the river to wash up, and put on a clean shirt for the day. He never went home again after that. Not until the last train left the platform and it was time to sit with his son and the woman his son had loved one more night. Because the truth was, Daniel and Ruthie hadn't left Ashford Hollow. Not the way people thought. Almost 2 years earlier, on a foggy night much like this one, the two of them had been walking home along those same tracks when the last train came through faster than anyone expected. Neither one made it across. The whole town had gone to the funeral. Everyone except Walter, who couldn't bring himself to believe it. Not really, not all the way down. So every night, once the last train had passed and the tracks fell silent, he still walked to that crossing. And for a few minutes in the gray hour before dawn, his son was still alive. His daughter-in-law was still angry about a wedding ring, and Walter Combs got to be a father again, just a little while longer.